Okay, I'd like to call the regular meeting of council to order. It's Monday, March 9th, 2020. And is there any announcements out there? Well, I have one, and that is that today is our city manager's birthday. So we'd like to say happy birthday to Bob.
Thank you very much.
And here he is on his birthday evening, all day and evening at a council meeting. So that shows some dedication. Any other announcements? Okay, hearing none, approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Peterson.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the agenda for the Monday, March 9th, 2020 regular meeting of council.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Philipchuk. Any additions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, moving down to minutes. Do we have a motion for minutes? Councillor Philipchuk.
I'll make the motion to adopt the February 24th, 2020 regular meeting of council minutes as presented.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Peterson. Okay, is there any comments, questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, administration reports.
On your report, Your Worship, from myself, in 2014, the City and the Prairie Spirit School Division negotiated an MOU regarding the lease of the land in which the tradition school was going to be built. The intent of the MOU was to set the parameters so that an agreement could be developed once the facility was built, as the city owned and would continue to own the land in which the school and grounds would be located. The MOU at the time was for a 40-year lease agreement, and the consideration or the amount of the lease was $1 a year, which would be drafted and entered into an agreement once that was done, and that's the purpose of this. We have an agreement that's been provided to council, and if there's any questions, I do have three options: that the lease agreement be signed as accepted, the council endorsed the lease agreement with any amendments that they felt might be appropriate, or that the council declined to support the lease agreement and direct administration to prepare a new agreement.
Okay, so
this was drafted by the Prairie Spirit School Division and submitted to us for review, and we didn't have any questions on it because it was identical to the MOU that was signed, and is also a bit of a boilerplate or a template for all the other divisions that they have as well, or schools that they have in the division.
okay, so this isn't real new to us, and we do have a recommendation in front of there. Is there anyone that wants to move that recommendation? Nobody wants to move the, Councillor Tooley? Seconder?
Do I have to read it?
Oh, yes, you do.
That the lease agreement between the Prairie Spirit School Division and the City of Warman for the lease of the land on which the tradition school, should it be actually more than just a tradition school, I guess, is a bit of a question mark I've got, has been constructed, be accepted as presented further, and that the mayor, city clerk be authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
We'll put the motion down and we'll have that discussion. A seconder? Councillor Philipchuk, and let's open the floor for discussion here.
So should the motion read that Prairie Spirit, or I guess the tradition school and the Catholic school, should it sort of read both of them?
I get the reason I put that is just kind of as you see in the lease agreement, maybe we could change it to the land location as attached in Schedule A. I don't describe lands in Schedule A, but that's the name of the school. That's why I put it in there, as it's called Tradition School. I believe that's.
But Kevin, you're thinking because that it would also refer to the school that's attached. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's because it's a joint use facility. It's not just the tradition school, or should it be something maybe reads, with the Ministry of Education, something along those lines, as opposed to just identifying tradition school specifically.
Okay.
I'm not sure so it's in regards to the tradition school, which on like the lease premise it has Schedule B.
So I think what he's trying to say is, should this also be the Catholic School Division too, because they're also have land or have property on there. This is just with Prairie Spirit School Division right now, or would we have a separate one for Holy Trinity and the Saskatoon Catholic School Division, which they belong
Oh, I
to?
see.
Because right now, this does say Prairie Spirit School
That's
Division.
who's signing it, yeah.
Right.
I don't know what the MOU was back in 2014 as to whether they were the project school, because I'm sure they would have one division that would be looking after the construction and et cetera.
It was actually both,
Okay.
because and that was really the way these P3 schools ended up happening, is that, and again, some of them have larger Catholic components, like the one in Martinsville, and some would be more size. Yeah.
Councillor Peterson?
According to the attachment, it's outlined in red what is covered under the lease, and that's not including the Catholic school.
So they would have to have a separate,
It's okay, but I have a separate question as well, in that the MOU was for 40 years once the construction was completed. Well, the construction was completed a couple years ago. So shouldn't the effective date be as of when it was completed, not now? So there should actually only be 38 more years remaining.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're, well, sure, we can make that change. It's 40 years, plus it also, they have the right for 4 10-year additional, when you read the agreement, it says, so it's actually 80 years in total, but they have the sole right to extend it for 4 10-year periods after that. So, but certainly, we can make that change. I don't think it, the effective date, or we can put an effective date in there of 2020.
So going back to your motion,
Well, maybe just a little bit more focused, I guess, is or maybe a little bit more focused question is, if this is the agreement specifically with Prairie Spirit School Division and Traditions, is there a similar agreement with Saskatoon Greater Catholic School Division in regards to the Catholic school? And if there isn't, should there be? Because I would think it sort of falls underneath the same context. Or should the agreement maybe be with the Ministry of Education and cover both sites or both portions of the school? So we might want to turn this back. This might be one where we may want to investigate a little bit further before we actually vote on the motion.
okay. Okay, so we do have, is there any other comments? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to, as it's read in front of us, are we all in favor of that? Okay, so we're opposed, we want to defer it to the next council meeting? Okay. Okay, so I don't think we have anything else under the city manager's report. Do we have a motion to file administration reports? Councillor Tooley?
I'll make a motion to file administration reports for Monday, March 9th, 2020 as presented to council.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Peterson, all in favor? Okay, moving down to council and committee reports, starting with mine. For your information, with one resolution on it, and that's for members of council to attend the Prairie Sky Chamber of Commerce. Is there a motion there? Councillor Philipchuk?
I'll make the motion for members of council to attend the Prairie Sky Chamber of Commerce 2020 WMBEXA on Saturday, May 2nd, 2020, and for the city to purchase additional tickets at a cost of $80 a ticket for council to attend.
Okay, so we have a seconder for that. Councillor Peterson, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Is there anything else from my report? Well, then we will move down to Janelle's report.
The Best Buddies program is kind of new to our school, so I thought I'd mention that. And last week we had 2 events we attended. I only talked about one, but the other one we went to Wet Paint Pottery. We just got to interact with each other and get to know each other a little more. And then just an update about where my trip to Ottawa is at.
And I see we have a motion on our agenda for your attendance to, so do we have a mover? Councillor Peterson?
I'd like to make the motion that council approve awarding Janelle Johnston $500 from the City of Warman Forum of Young Canadians grant to attend the Forum for Young Canadians in Ottawa, Ontario on March 22nd to March 27th, 2020.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Tooley, and any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Is there any questions of Janelle about her report?
Actually, I would like to have Janelle expand a little bit regarding what the Best Buddies program is.
So we work with our special education students, and the whole point of it is to make them feel as involved and as welcomed into the school and extracurriculars as every other student. They really enjoy it. They like interacting with us, and it's a new experience for all of us and the teachers. We also, when we went to the bag-out tournament at the soccer center, we also got to interact with some of the students from the tradition school. So some of the younger kids, they thought it was really cool that they got to spend a day with the big kids, so it was very exciting.
Any other questions? Okay, if I can have a motion to file the mayor's and the youth council reports. Councillor Tooley?
Make the motion to file the mayor's and the youth council representatives reports as presented for March 9th, 2020.
Okay, seconded. Councillor Peterson? All in favor? Council roundtable. Councillor Philipchuk?
Well, with me, I'll just mention one. I went to the Suite of Forum on Friday, and it was a fantastic, and as one of the board members, I think it's important to get that back to them, that it's just high energy. It's really well done. I think it's one that everybody should be going to, because we talk about some of the directions of what we want with our, our high performance, or trying to look at different areas, and there's so many ideas that you leave there with. I mean, like Jordan Duchak, in 33 months has a $33 million business, and they've gone from co-leads to co-launch to co-labs to co-learn, and they're just building on. And he just talked about the energy that happens along the way. So like, we want to be an Olympic style sort of business, in the sense that we're attracting some of the best people. If they're not fitting in, we realize not everybody's going to be at that level. But young guy, like, he's about my son's age, so he's, probably 25, 26 years old, and talking those types of dollars. And just even another one of their things, that they meet with clients that they want to have, that they want founders to have $1 million in revenue in 3 years. Like, that's got to be a starting point for them if they're going to really move forward with them in these areas. So that was one of the sessions, and it was that type of day where it started that way, and it just continued all the way through. Just really well done, especially when we're so tied to the region right now, that it just felt like we're in the right place, because it's Saskatoon. The Nutrient was there, and Federated was there, and Vendesta was there. So I mean, and they're all talking, of course, about some of the great things, and talking about growth. And we realize some of the challenges. They talk about that too. But you leave there feeling like there's so much optimism of some of the possibilities to try and attract that growth to our areas, and all of us sort of sharing in that, and how we can learn from each other. So just even to pass that on is very good.
Councillor
That's it.
Peterson?
That's the only thing I had, was the Recreation Advisory Committee meeting on the 26th. One question that came up in that was kind of like, where one of the board members had kind of said, well, what the recommendations we make, like, I mean, do they go anywhere? And so, where me and Paul both brought up the change to how the campground is going to be run this year.
Mm-hmm.
That was a recommendation that came from that committee to here that we approved, and so that was well received. And also we talked a little bit about the upcoming volunteer awards, and just trying to encourage them to come out and tell people to come out to those, so that we really wanted to make it a big deal from this year and moving forward. So.
Okay, good, thank you. Councillor Tooley?
Well, I'll start with where I was prior to coming to the council meeting, and that's why I was running a little bit behind. but I was with the Warman Chamber of Commerce for their board meeting. Myself and Josh was there as well. And I had a little bit of a pause in actually Josh talking, and I was able to excuse myself to make my way over here. So there was actually quite a few questions coming our direction this evening, which it was actually more than I've experienced with them in the past. And so going backwards from there, last Wednesday I attended the firefighters, not annual meeting, but one of their board meetings, or the membership meetings. And very good meeting. My first chance to actually be at one of those meetings, and I don't think I have anything specific to report back about it, but it was just good to go. And one other thing to give an update on. March 25th, I was supposed to be traveling to Regina for a SAMA Urban Advisory Committee meeting. And that's actually been postponed till potentially sometime in May. And they sort of gave the rationale that it's being postponed in the event that May 25th may very well be in the middle of a provincial election campaign.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I should have mentioned in my report too, there is one conference that has been postponed to the fall, and that's the Indigenous Conference in Regina. It's going to be postponed to the fall as well, so I thought I better mention that. Okay, we're moving down to correspondence. We have in front of us the RCMP media releases. Do we have a motion to file those, please? Councillor Philipchuk?
I'll make the motion to the following correspondence has been received by council on Monday, March 9th, 2020, the RCMP media release from February 17th to March 2nd, 2020.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Peterson? All in favor? Other reports. We have the turbidity report in front. Do we have a motion to file? Councillor Peterson?
I'd like to make the motion to approve and file the turbidity report for February 2020.
Seconder for that? Councillor Philipchuk? Is there any questions? Okay, all in favor? Moving down for accounts for approval. Motion, please. Councillor Tooley?
Make the motion to approve city accounts as presented by checks numbered 22419 to 22525 for the total amount of $257,768.81, and the payroll vouchers numbered 10366 to 10432 in the amounts of $92,940.49 for March 9th, 2020.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Philipchuk, is there any questions? All in favor? Geez, we're already down the motion to adjourn. Motion, Councillor Tooley?
I'll make the motion to adjourn the Monday, March 9th, 2020 regular meeting of council.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Philipchuk? All in favor?
Picked you up in my pickup truck. You were looking so damn good. There was a crime in the rearview mirror. We watched the city disappear, and I remember you lit one up and we heading for a good time. That song came on. Maybe it was in the air, maybe it was meant to be. It's like we're living inside a song on the radio. They were singing about you and me, a love song about us being wild and free. There ain't no doubt we're right where we belong, in the middle of a country song. We were all alone in a field of gold. A little 5-ball whiskey swimming through our veins. Jumped up on the flatbed, had the melody running through our heads, and then we started dancing like a couple of fools, made love and then we did it again. And maybe it was in the air, maybe it was meant to be. It's like we're living inside a song on the radio. They were singing about you and me, a love song about us being wild and free. There ain't no doubt we're right where we belong, in the middle of a country song. When we drink, drink it all down, and when we sing, sing it out loud. When we live, do it upright, just like they do in the country songs. Maybe it was in the air, and maybe it was meant to be. It's like we're living inside a song on the radio. They were singing about you and me, a love song about us being wild and free. There ain't no doubt we're right where we belong, in the middle of a country song, in the middle of a country song, in the middle of a country song. South of the city, where the wheat fields and the breeze can dance you dizzy, where the river finds its way and I miss it, where we were young and free, we loved each other fearlessly. Let's leave this crazy behind, and tell me, why don't we take that drive that takes us back in time? No sign of city lights, a different kind of skyline. I bet the moonlight can open up the world between us. And south of the city, and south of the city, about an hour away from everything that's killing you and me. Choking sounds and smells that just won't let us breathe yet. I'll get behind the wheel, you wind your windows down. These hearts know where they're going, yeah. Why don't we take that drive that takes us back in time? No sign of city lights, a different kind of skyline. I bet the moonlight can open up the world between us. South of the city, where we both grew up, and we always had enough. It's where we both learned to love. Ooh. And tell me, why don't we take that drive that takes us back in time? No sign of city lights, a different kind of skyline. How about the moonlight can open up the world between us? And south of the city, and south of the city. West on the highway, about a quarter mile down the road, is where we used to go. And I could still see you watching your auburn hair blow. riding shotgun next to me. Now all I'm left with are the memories in an empty passenger seat. Strawberry lip gloss was rolling around in the ashtray. I can throw it away. For every hot August night, steam on the windshield, taste your kiss. And baby, that's what I miss. Wild and free, with the windows down, baby, chasing dreams. Like an angel riding shotgun next to me. Now all I'm left with are the memories in an empty passenger seat. With every second and every smile, I see your face in every mile. When I think of how we used to be, wild and free. Ooh, so wild and free. Wild and free, with the windows down, baby, chasing dreams. Like an angel riding shotgun next to me. Now all I'm left with are the memories in an empty passenger seat. West on the highway, about a quarter mile down the road. Well, I picked you up in my pickup truck. You were looking so damn